We have breaking news coming into SportsCenter, and an absolutely massive deal just taking place moments ago in the NFL. For more on that, we want to bring in our NFL insider, Adam Schefter. Adam, what can you tell us?
Matt, moments ago, the Denver Broncos and Seattle Seahawks reached agreement on a trade that will send 9-time Pro Bowl quarterback Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos in a massive package of picks and players that will go back to Seattle in exchange for Russell Wilson. Now, some people might say, well, is this having to do with Aaron Rodgers? The Broncos moved on from him? No. The Broncos and Seahawks have been in talks for a couple of weeks now. The Broncos general manager, George Paton, initiated the talks, and they are resulting in a deal, an agreement with the Seattle Seahawks in which Russell Wilson has to waive his no-trade clause, which he's expected to do, and which he must pass a physical, which obviously he is expected to do. And obviously that will all happen. Russell then would become the quarterback of the Denver Broncos, but there's an agreement in place between both sides that would send Russell Wilson to Denver in one of the biggest NFL trades in NFL history, an enormous package of players and picks going back to Seattle. Now, Denver's in the process of notifying some of these players about who are going in exchange to Seattle for Russell Wilson. But Wilson is expected to waive his no-trade clause in return to go to Denver to become the next quarterback of the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, and this isn't hyperbole, Schefter. You broke this trade on social media moments ago, and Jay and I were sitting here at our desk going, wow, this is unbelievable, maybe one of the biggest we've ever seen. You talk about a significant package. I know you said the team right now is in the process of notifying some of the other players. Can you give me some sense on what kind of package we're talking about of bringing a Super Bowl champion from Seattle and Russell Wilson now to be the quarterback of the Denver Broncos?
I think it's going to be multiple first-round picks. I think it's going to be other picks. I think it's going to be other players. Now, listen, I don't think that Russell Wilson would waive his no-trade clause if he wasn't comfortable with the players that are going there. Okay, so I think he probably wants certain players there, and that will be a part of this conversation. But Seattle is going to get back a significant package of compensation in return for Russell Wilson, and he's going to become the Broncos quarterback, assuming that he passes his physical.
End of an era in Seattle. What a truly remarkable afternoon in the NFL. You said something earlier that I want to go back to because, and I think it is NFL when we're talking about the Aaron Rodgers news that he was staying in Green Bay, and you had mentioned a second ago people might connect the dots. You're in fact saying that is not true, that this is the quarterback the Denver Broncos have coveted now for quite some time.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about that. And it's a case where they have been dialed in with the Seahawks in recent days. Those talks heated up. George Paton, the Broncos general manager, initiated those talks. And you'll notice that the Denver Broncos didn't have a single trade conversation with the Green Bay Packers this offseason regarding Aaron Rodgers. But they've had multiple significant conversations with the Seattle Seahawks regarding Russell Wilson. And those talks have been going on for a couple of weeks now. This was the quarterback that Denver was targeting. And so in the end, I don't think that even if Aaron Rodgers had decided, I want to go to Denver, I don't know that that was going to be an option here because Denver was moving down the road with Seattle.
Yeah, and that's interesting there. Let's unpack that for a minute because today we obviously broke the news at the beginning of the show that Aaron Rodgers had decided to go back to the Green Bay Packers. Adam, is it possible that when Rodgers or in his camp perhaps flirted with the Denver Broncos, there were reports that maybe that was one of the teams he wanted to go to, that the Broncos were, hey, we're good. We've got something else that we're going to do here, perhaps tipping the scales for Rodgers to go back to Green Bay so then the Broncos could execute this move?
Yeah, no, listen, there's no doubt about it. I don't know that it ever got to that. I don't know that, Aaron Rodgers said, Denver, and all of a sudden Denver said, no, thank you, but no thank you, Matt. I don't know that conversation, and don't think that conversation ever happened. I just think that Rodgers was making up his mind, which was unsettled. Denver really had made up its mind. It was moving down the road to go get Russell Wilson in this particular situation, and the Broncos have been able to agree to that deal with Seattle. Again, Russell still has to pass that physical, and he still has to give his approval, but he is going to essentially be a part of this deal where he's going to be going to Denver. Drew Lock, I understand, is going to be a part of this deal as well.
Okay, so you beat me to it, because now when you're going through this scenario, you're thinking, okay, the Seattle Seahawks are losing a Hall of Fame quarterback. You could argue still in the prime of his career, going to the NFC and the Denver Broncos. So now that begs the question, what next for the Seattle Seahawks? You can report that Locke now, he was a quarterback that they had drafted out of Missouri, had a lot of high expectations for. He will be a part of this deal to go up north to Seattle?
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Yes, he will.
Okay. And it is worth pointing out, Denver does go to Seattle this year to play a game. And this is just, you mentioned it, how big this deal is for the NFL, Adam. I'd imagine right now, just in the minute or so that you've been on the air with us, the earphone has been absolutely blowing up. What has been the reaction around the league in NFL circles?
Yeah, well, I got one head coach texting me, wow. There was another team that was aware that this could be coming down. People are just starting to get wind. And obviously, this is a move that's going to have enormous ramifications. I think Russell Wilson is up to the challenge of being in a division with Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert and Derek Carr. Think about the quarterbacks in the AFC West alone. That is quite the situation there with all those great quarterbacks. They're now playing in one division. And it's a situation where, look, Denver's been looking to replace its quarterback since Peyton Manning retired. And from the day John Elway retired, they were looking to replace him with another quarterback. Well, they were never able to fill Elway's shoes until Peyton Manning came along, and they've not been able to fill Peyton Manning's shoes until now Russell Wilson comes along. Russell Wilson's 33 years old. I would imagine he's got 2 years left on his deal. At some point in time, the Broncos will enter into talks to try to get an extension done to keep Russell Wilson in Denver. But the Broncos have basically coveted a quarterback the last couple of years. It was the biggest priority for their general manager, George Payton, and now they have gone ahead and they have moved ahead to close a deal with Russell Wilson.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.